Dave, thank you very much. And I know we want to get to questions. If I might just make a statement or two to put this report into a context from one who spent his life in the field of adolescence and adolescent literacy. This was my 40th year in education. I began in a small Eskimo village in the state of Alaska. I went into teaching because I loved learning myself, and I was blown away by the students that I encountered who didn't have the basic skills to succeed. I tried, and I found in about October in my first year, I was totally overmatched. And I will never forget that prior to the holidays, I started to see the lights go out in the eyes of these kids. And I vowed at that time I was going to do something about it. And that began a lifelong journey for me professionally to try to make headway in designing and discovering ways that can enable adolescents who struggle with literacy to indeed succeed. As we know, that gap gets larger and larger. They get unmotivated because they've failed so long. There's been an enormous emphasis, and rightfully so, on younger children. Get them early so we can get them on the right track. So there has not been much attention, very little investment relative to investment in younger children. But work has been going on for the past several years, and in that process, several things have been learned. A solid foundation has been laid. We do know what we need to know to teach students, struggling adolescent learners, how to be effective. We don't know everything, but we know enough. What this report provides is the framework. It provides the visibility, the leadership that is required. Now, there's always a shortage of resources. We know that. I would contend, however, the problems and the challenges we face in adolescent literacy and that this report addresses transcends a resource issue. It transcends a resource issue. The real issues that I see are ones of awareness, and this report does that. It builds on the others that have come forth, but it addresses things that others have not addressed, and it does so with enormous clarity. Secondly, it's an issue of leadership, and this talks about the things that can happen and should happen through the state leadership at the educational and political fronts. And this is a report that allows us to tap what we know so that we can leverage that now, bringing it together with sound policy, bring together effective leaders to really make headway on an enormous challenge and problem that we're confronting in this country. In my 40 years, I have never been more excited than I am now. And just to conclude, the leadership, and you've heard in his opening remarks that Governor Kane provided, was extraordinary. There aren't many governors who can talk at the level of depth and with sophistication that he does about reading and pedagogy and so forth. We've been very fortunate to have his leadership.